9 months ago, Nigeria's biggest opposition names, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, Atiku, El-Rufai, Aregbesola, all gathered under one roof, one party, one coalition. They said this was the team that would end Tinubu in 2027. This week, that coalition is on fire. Peter Obi is gone. Kwankwaso is gone. Senators are gone. House of Reps members are fleeing. And the question nobody is asking loudly enough is this: did this coalition fall apart, or was it always designed to fall apart? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see this very differently. Before we go deeper, if you're just finding Naija News Feed for the first time, welcome. This channel exists to break down what's really happening in Nigerian politics, without the noise, without the spin, and without anyone's agenda. If that's what you are looking for, hit that subscribe button right now. It's the one thing you can do that genuinely helps me keep doing this work. Now let's get into it. Here's the timeline, straight and clean. Back in mid-2025, Nigeria's major opposition figures converged on the African Democratic Congress, the ADC. The plan was straightforward: unite, pick one candidate, and give Tinubu a real fight in 2027. The names involved were serious: former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Senate President David Mark, former governors El-Rufai of Kaduna and Fayemi of Ekiti, ex-minister Ralph Karegbesola, and eventually Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. This was supposed to be the dream team. The dream started cracking immediately. By July 2025, the party's original chairman, Ralph Nwosu, resigned the NWC, creating an interim structure under David Mark. A rival faction under a man named Bala then went to court, claiming Mark had no right to be chairman. That single lawsuit triggered a chain reaction that has never fully stopped. The Supreme Court weighed in on April 30th, 2026, just days ago. They restored David Mark's leadership but didn't fully resolve the underlying dispute. They sent it back to the trial court. That ruling, rather than calming things down, became the final straw. Within 72 hours of that Supreme Court ruling, Peter Obi announced his resignation from the ADC on his official X account, calling the political environment toxic. Kwankwaso followed. Two Kano House of Reps members, Honorable Umar Datti and Honorable Sani Wakili, resigned the same day. Senator Aisha Binani of Adamawa followed. Rep Leke Abejide of Kogi State followed. A lawmaker from Enugu State, Harrison Ogara, followed. Insiders told multiple Nigerian outlets that more lawmakers would follow before INEC's May 10th, the deadline for parties to submit membership registers. The number being reported: as many as 17 representatives and counting. Whether it lands at exactly 17 or higher, the direction is clear. The ADC's legislative wing is collapsing in real time. Here's the thing that should make you pause. Some of these same lawmakers only joined the ADC weeks ago. Honorable Umar Datti, for example, had just defected from the NNP to the ADC on April 22, 2026. He was in the ADC for less than 2 weeks before resigning again. That's not a defection, that's a pit stop. Let's talk about the rules of the game, because this matters for what happens next. Under Section 68 of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution, a member of the House of Representatives loses their seat if they defect from the political party on which they were elected, unless they can prove that there is a division or internal crisis within that party. That phrase, division in the party, is the legal escape hatch that every defecting lawmaker uses. And you'll notice that every single resignation letter from these lawmakers says the exact same thing: internal crisis, leadership tussle, toxic environment. They're not just venting, they're building a legal case to keep their seats while switching parties. Now, INEC. The Independent National Electoral Commission has set May 10, 2026 as the deadline for parties to submit their membership registers. This is not a soft deadline. Miss it, and a party could face complications in fielding candidates. This deadline is the clock ticking behind every defection you are hearing about this week. Politicians are not moving because of ideology. They are moving because time is running out and they need to be on the right platform before the door closes. The NDC, the Nigerian Democratic Congress, was barely 4 months ago. Its national leader is Seriaki Dixon, former governor of Bayelsa State. Its national chairman is Moses Cleopas. They've been running congresses at breakneck speed. Ward congresses on May 1st and 2nd, LGA congresses on May 4th, state congresses following, national conventions set for May 9th, 1 day before the INEC deadline. That's not coincidence, that's engineering. So who actually benefits from all of this? And is the APC sitting back and watching, or are they involved? I'll come back to that.
This is the core. Let's follow the logic. Why Peter Obi left? The real reason. Obi's statement on X cited a toxic environment and external interference. He referenced the same destabilizing forces that plagued him in the Labour Party. But beneath the language, the calculus was simpler. The ADC leadership dispute, going back and forth between courts since September 2025, created a real risk. What if the Federal High Court ruled at the last minute that Mark's leadership was invalid? What if INEC refused to recognize the party's submissions? Obi's candidacy could be voided before a single vote is cast. He couldn't afford that risk. The NDC was the exit door. Why Kwankwaso left? His Kwankwasia movement had been in talks with the NDC for weeks, described by insiders as 90% complete before the official announcement. His 44 LGA structure in Kano had unanimously endorsed the move. Kwankwaso is not a man who moves without a plan. He brings an enormous political machine from the north, and he's eyeing a joint presidential ticket with Obi in 2027. Southeast votes plus Kano's machinery is a formidable calculation. The ADC chieftain's allegation. A Benue State ADC chieftain, Dr. Shiminenje Damna, made a striking claim this week that the Tinubu administration deliberately engineered the crisis within the ADC to fragment the opposition. His words were specific. President Tinubu is not afraid of Atiku, he's not afraid of Peter Obi, he's not afraid of Kwankwaso, but he's definitely afraid of them coming together. That allegation is unverified, but it is not without political logic. A divided opposition hands 2027 to the APC without a fight. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, the APC this week closed sales of its presidential nomination forms, set at 100 million naira. They are running their calendar smoothly. Their primaries are planned, their structure is intact. While the opposition burns, the ruling party is quietly building. Who are the silent players? Watch Seriaki Dixon closely. He's the one who built the NDC from scratch 4 months ago. He received Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, Binani, and others at his personal Abuja residence. He's the one framing the NDC as Nigeria's fastest-growing, most stable political party. Dixon is constructing something, and Obi and Kwankwaso are the ingredients he needed to make it credible at the national level. And also, watch Atiku Abubakar. He is staying in the ADC. His camp and Obi's camp couldn't agree on a single ticket. The ADC's failure to resolve presidential zoning, who gets the ticket from which region, broke the coalition more than any court ruling. So the question becomes, can the NDC actually become a governing coalition in less than 12 months? Or are we watching the same cycle repeat itself? I'll answer that at the end. Let's zoom out to what this means for Nigeria. The opposition vacuum. If the NDC absorbs Obi, Kwankwaso, and their structures, it becomes the de facto main opposition. But it's a 4-month-old party. It has no track record of winning elections, it has no governors, it has no state houses of assembly. For ordinary Nigerians who mobilized massively in 2023, hoping for change, especially young people, watching this unfold is demoralizing. The risk of voter cynicism ahead of 2027 is very real. The economic angle. A fractured opposition does not challenge the government on economic policy, and Nigerians need that challenge right now. Fuel prices remain punishing, the naira is still stressed, inflation is still squeezing the middle class and the poor. When opposition politicians are consumed with their own survival, who is scrutinizing the budget? Who is holding the executive accountable? Regional dynamics. The ADC was theoretically a national coalition. It had voices from the southeast, Obi, the northwest, Kwankwaso, the south-south, Dixon, and the north, Atiku. That coalition breaking apart along the lines of who can survive legally and who can position best is essentially Nigeria's regional politics resurfacing inside one-tenth. The NDC becoming Obi Kwankwaso's vehicle means it could be perceived as a Southeast-Northwest alliance, which raises its own questions about national spread. Legislative implications. With man-lords streaming out of the ADC into the NDC, the opposition's voice in the House of Representatives becomes complicated. These members were elected on ADC tickets. Their constituents voted for them as ADC candidates. They now represent the NDC. That's a legitimacy question that doesn't get discussed enough. Pause here for a second. If what I've just laid out surprises you, or if you knew some of this already but didn't know how deep it goes, drop a comment below. Tell me, do you think the NDC can actually challenge Tinubu in 2027, or is this another false start? I genuinely read those comments. And one more thing, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the moment. Every subscription tells the algorithm this content matters. It's free, it takes 2 seconds, and it's literally the only way you can help me keep this channel going. Hit that button. Let me push back against some of the narratives circulating. Misconception number 1. This is all Tinubu's fault. Some opposition figures are blaming the government for engineering the ADC collapse. That allegation is politically convenient, but even if there is some truth to government meddling, the opposition's own failure to agree on a single presidential ticket, the breakdown between Atiku's camp and Obi's camp over who gets to fly the flag, was entirely self-inflicted. You can't blame an opponent for exploiting a wound you gave yourself. Misconception number 2. The NDC is the new hope. Not so fast. The ADC was also described as the new hope just 9 months ago, and look at it now. The NDC is 4 months old. It has no state structure that has been tested in actual elections. It has no governors. The same legal, zoning and ego battles that destroyed the ADC will follow the politicians into their next home if they don't change how they operate. Misconception number 3. Kwankwaso and Obi are just opportunistic. There's a legitimate case that they had no choice. The INEC deadline created a ticking clock. The Supreme Court ruling, rather than resolving the ADC crisis, actually reset the legal battle to the trial court. Staying in the ADC was a genuine risk to their ability to appear on the 2027 ballot at all. Some of their movement is self-preservation, yes, but it's not purely cynical. The ADC released its presidential nomination form price this week, set at 100 million naira. That means any Nigerian who wants to run for president under the ADC must pay 100 million naira just to get the form. 100 million naira before a single vote is cast. That is not a party interested in democracy. That is a party interested in its own revenue.
Here's what to watch. The next 5 days are everything. INEC's deadline is May 10. Watch how many more lawmakers and politicians formally cross to the NDC before that date. The number will tell you the real size of the movement. If it's 17 or above in the House of Reps alone, the NDC will arrive at its national convention on May 9 with serious legislative credibility. Watch Atiku Abubakar. He's staying in the ADC. If he stabilizes the ADC and fields a credible presidential candidate, 2027 becomes a genuine three-way race. APC, Tinubu, NDC, Obi, Kwankwaso, ADC, Atiku. Three-way races in Nigeria historically help the incumbent. Tinubu knows this. Watch the courts. The ADC leadership dispute goes back to the Federal High Court. If that court rules against the David Mark faction before the elections, the ADC may not have a valid leadership to conduct primaries. That would effectively knock Atiku out before he starts. Best case scenario. The NDC conducts clean congresses, gets INEC's recognition as a properly structured party, Obi and Kwankwaso formalize a joint ticket, build a genuine Southeast and Northwest coalition, and create the most serious challenge to an incumbent since 2019. Worst case scenario? The NDC inherits the same crisis culture. Internal disputes over ticket and zoning resurface. The obedient base fractures. Kwankwaso's bloc has different interests. By late 2026, the same conversation we're having about the ADC, we're having about the NDC. And the opposition goes into 2027 exactly where it was in 2023, scattered, divided, and handing Tinubu the win. Long-term political impact. Nigeria's electoral system will continue producing these cycles until the underlying issue is addressed. Political parties here are not built on ideology. They are built on individual personalities and transactional loyalties. Until that changes, every coalition will eventually collapse when the personal interests of its biggest names diverge. The ADC is not the problem. The system that produces ADCs is the problem. I opened this video with a question. Did this coalition fall apart, or was it always designed to fall apart? Here's my honest answer. It was designed to win, but it was built to collapse. Because it was never a coalition of shared ideas, it was a coalition of shared opponents. The moment those personalities had to agree on who among them would lead, the coalition fell apart. That is not a new story in Nigeria. It is the same story with new names. What is different this time is the INEC deadline pressure, which forced movement faster than normal. What is also different is the NDC, a young party led by a disciplined strategic operator in Seriake Dixon, who has managed to position himself as the one man in Nigeria's opposition space who isn't fighting for the top job himself. Whether the NDC becomes something real or becomes the next abandoned vehicle depends entirely on whether Obi and Kwankwaso learnt anything from the ADC implosion they just escaped. The next 30 days will tell us everything. If this breakdown gave you clarity on what's really happening in Nigerian politics, do me a favor, share this video with one person who needs to understand what's going on. It costs you nothing and it means everything to this channel. Like the video and please subscribe to Naija News Feed. Subscribing is the one real way you can help me keep doing this work and doing it properly. I see every subscriber and I don't take it for granted. Stay sharp, stay informed. I'll see you in the next one.